this is the summer solstice Cancer season chart. It's going to be really fascinating. Now, the ascendant could change. This is based in Arizona where I'm at. The ascendant could shift a bit, but we're going to look at it at this, basically the cap rising, but just the overall energies. Maybe if we were looking in New York or Florida, it may switch and could be potentially a Sag rising because it's so close. But right now, we're looking at it, the cap rising. But we're going to focus more on the aspects and the alignments, right? This is the start of Cancer season, okay? The summer solstice, which is on the 20th, right, of June. So we're dealing with 7:43 p.m., so that's at 10:43 p.m. Eastern, okay, on the 20th. So that's why my Cancer birth chart sale starts on the 20th and the Gemini ends on the 20th, because I wanted to give the Geminis that full last day, sun, moon, rising, right, if they wanted to, take advantage of the birth chart sale. So we're looking at the Cancer sun. It comes in, and this is speaking to the whole Cancer season, but the summer solstice. This is the longest day of the year. So this is where we can literally kind of tap in and make sure on the 20th, right, before you come to Coffee Talk that night, spend time in nature that day. It's the longest day of the year. So even when we start Coffee Talk at 8 o'clock, it'll still be a little light outside on the East Coast. Okay, and the solstice doesn't officially start till Coffee Talk is over, right? Because it's at 10:43 at night. So we'll still be at Coffee Talk next Friday, Gemini, 29 degrees, like 59 minutes or 58 minutes. But the sun coming in right in conjunct Jupiter, it's really, this is the summer. And we got a nice little run. Mercury, the energy to like start something, like you've got a lot of fuel right now to launch a product, a business, to start a new adventure, start a new, fasting ritual, meditation ritual, spiritual practice, whatever it is you want to initiate. This chart and the energy right now supports it. Mercury goes retrograde on July 18th. So we've got a straight run. We're only dealing with Pluto retrograde now. I forgot when that ends, but it's coming up in a couple of months, I think. But everything is really full steam ahead. When Pluto's retrograde, and that's something I've been telling you guys in general, we all at this time, Pluto Aquarius, we need to focus on doing some sort of shadow work and fasting, okay? And for this chart being the second house, that's really important, right? For your food, intuition, speech, right? Do some intermittent fasting. And that can even be a good ritual to do at this time when you're grounding in nature, because we're coming in with this Taurus moon. So the moon and sun are in a sextile. This is extremely harmonious. This is like Chantel playing in her garden, making the sweet potatoes and this and that. This is tapping in, and Janice doing stuff with her herbs. This is me meditating and grounding by my tree. Like, this is all day at the beach. What we have to integrate is bringing in our crystals, our gems. Our throat chakra is going to be really open and activated, but we have to be mindful. Uranus and Taurus are 29 degrees. Extreme weather it's Uranus is, supposedly, it's at home in Aquarius, and a lot of people say it's exalted in Scorpio. And if you notice, since 2018, we've had the worst, not just weather, and that a lot of that can be because of HAARP, but it is hashtag New Earth, right? This is like the tectonic plates. This is the light codes from the sun affecting Gaia, Mother Earth for the good, but at the same time affecting the earth and moving stuff around. Uranus and Taurus at 29 degrees. This, the solstice, this is powerful energy where we're going to have and potentially could have something happening to our safety and security. We're going to be okay. Jupiter conjunct the sun. But Uranus, Taurus is what? Our food, our resources, our money, our values, our self-worth, right? So this could be a little let's turn off the internet for a day or two. This could be power grid blackout. This could be the financial system finally collapses and they bring in the whole digital currency and XRP and XLM and Ripple and crypto. They're working on it behind the scenes now. So it's already, you see every day, right? Real estate, things like that is coming on the blockchain. This and that's happening. So they're doing this. This is why you're having all these distractions, because you need to pay attention to, back in the days, before I even knew astrology, I used to watch C-SPAN because I want to see what these fools are actually talking about and voting on. Don't listen to people talk, watch what they do, their actions, right? And so this Uranus Taurus, something's coming up. That's a challenging placement, okay? But faith over fear and Jupiter, our abundance and blessings, this is bringing in an awakening. What Jupiter Cancer transit will do till June 30th, 2026, the divine feminine. It is really coming online. Just like we also have Sedna in Gemini, which is now at 1 degree, right? Sedna is the grandmother goddess energy. And in Gemini, and it's coming up out of the oceans. And it was in Taurus. For the most of us being born, we either had it in Taurus or in Aries. It moves, I think it may be every 84 years. So most of us had it in Taurus, I think. But it's in Gemini now. And you're starting to see different algae. You're going to get stuff with more minerals than sea moss. You had pyramids found off the coast of Japan a few months back. You're going to see people are talking about mermaids again. You're going to see things and creatures and the spaceships coming up out of the ocean, right? The aliens are not up there. They're beyond the ice wall and in the water. You're going to see stuff popping off. This is a lot of that energy. With the Jupiter in Cancer, it's exalted. This is going to be a boost this year of homeschoolings. My prophecy or my prediction is that I think we'll probably have less school shootings. I've never done a study on it astrologically, but I'm going to pay attention this year and look at the stats. But I'm thinking when Jupiter's in Cancer, that there may be less violence in schools. This is very good for the mother principle. Whether you are a birth mother or someone who gives birth and nurtures and cares for things or pets, it's going to really increase that, right? I think real estate and property value is going to go up. You're going to see a lot of people moving this summer, right? Right now, it's actually, they said now it's more of a buyer's market, okay? So you're going to start to see with this Jupiter-Sun conjunction, all of that energy playing out. So then now we still have Mercury there. Mercury is very sensitive in Cancer, right? The moon and Mercury, you're dealing with the logical mind, analytical processing with Mercury. Cancer, the emotional mind. So this is where sometimes, you can communicate by your feelings, but you can be very sensitive around your communications. And sensitivity is not a bad word, but it may be more so in your communications. It can be a little challenging. But usually they're more nurturing and caring in terms of how they communicate. When you have Mercury in Cancer, it can be very sweet. Now we want to look at any major aspects to this 0 degrees Cancer Sun. So we start with the trines, right, in the third house. It's not hitting, but the Mercury's trining the North Node, okay? So, but we do have the part of fortune, for this particular chart. And this would be more if you're living on the West Coast. Like I said, it could shift. Sometimes it doesn't, but it can shift based on longitude and latitude, where it may make it a Sag rising if you're on the East Coast. Okay, but this part of fortune being here and the trine to the sun, there's a definite strong energy. I have to look at the 11th house with the Scorpio, because we also have Haumea, which gave birth to the Hawaiian Islands. The Lilith, okay, Lilith is in Sag, so we did that with the Lilith, the true Black Moon Lilith. But right now, so you guys know, in transit, it's in Scorpio, and Juno will be heading to Sag soon. But the one thing I would say about this energy, there's going to be this feeling where this happens every summer. So this isn't anything special. But now with Pluto and Aquarius and all this stuff going on, you're going to see a lot of people out protesting in the streets. Remember they called it what, the summer of love with the, the whole George Floyd stuff or whatever. This time it's going to be different because Cancer, this is like a righteous fighting for our safety and security, fighting for our homeland. This is pro or, you know, against, right? In terms of immigration. So you're going to see this Jupiter Cancer Sun on the solstice, this stuff that's going on now this weekend, it's not over yet. There'll probably be more protests next Saturday on the 21st after this solstice, right? I'm sure they're planning stuff now, But just know that this is a time to come home to your emotional intelligence and your safety and security and what makes you feel at home, what makes you feel safe and secure. So one thing that I would really encourage everybody and people in the replay is, to do a lot of grounding rituals, meditate, go to the beach, go, in the grass and the soil and the dirt, and really speak the words about how you feel emotionally safe and secure, and do it in, I would do it in 12s, just like I tell you guys with the dream code, do it 12 times, right? Same thing with this, do the affirmations, right? Even the 369, but 12 takes you back to 3, so do it in 12s and really, speak and claim it out loud. I am safe and secure. I am abundant, right? I know that my family is safe and secure because things are going to intensify. Israel, Iran, it's going to start to get really wild and wonky. And just know Uranus is coming into Gemini on the 7-7 portal. And those are the alignments that are speaking to astrology have been predicting for years. And then Saturn and Neptune and Aries, right? Potential war, right? Which obviously we already have multiple wars. Now you notice Mars is in Virgo, okay? So that is also exploring more of the heavy mental to service to humanity. So one thing that's going on is like the chart supports us nurturing our community, our tribe, and our families and ourselves, despite the chaos that's around us outwardly, despite DC and Trump, despite Palestine, Israel, despite Russia, Ukraine, whatever the other despites are, okay? So use this chart to really align yourself to be more safe and secure. And you've got to activate the throat chakras. Get the blue crystals, the lapis lazuli, right? Like I wear all the time because I'm always using my throat chakra. Because look, you got the moon and you got the Venus and Uranus. This Uranus will be more of a negative, but at the same time, we can literally get downloads when we're grounding and earthing in nature. You're tapped in energetically to Gaia Mother Earth, okay? So that's really important at this time to kind of, now this Jupiter and the Cancer Sun, they're squaring as soon as they come in. It comes in, right? Saturn and Neptune. So that's where we face challenges, right? The Sun square Saturn is us battling the government and authorities, trying to restrict our I am energy, our sovereignty. So this is what I'm telling you. Don't join the people out there in the streets. There's going to be, depending on how the protests go today, there's going to be a lot more next Saturday. And that's speaking to this energy right after the solstice. When it's Cancer season, people want to take off their clothes and they want to be outside. That's fine. Do that in the beach, but do not get caught up in these streets with this silliness because it's not, I'm not saying that the causes are not righteous or correct. What I'm saying is that you want to protect and guard your energy because you have to know you're dealing with, this is all spiritual warfare. My son asked me the other day, Dad, do you think what's happening, it could start World War III? And it's like, yes, but no, World War III has already started. We're in spiritual warfare. This is all dark versus light. This is high level spiritual chess, not checkers. Okay? And so with Saturn, Neptune, we're being deceived. What's really real, right? You see, this guy's calling the National Guard, but it's like a 2-block radius in LA. The media is making you seem like, oh, LA is all crazy. And It's like 2 blocks. You know what I mean? And so, and then there's other information coming out that there was stuff in the fashion district, and there's this is some other things that were playing out with the Mexican government, and then you got stuff where people are placing, just like they did with George Floyd in Minnesota, they're literally putting cinder blocks and bricks out there for people to come by and throw. There was an ad in Craigslist asking, athletic, strong men to get paid to in California to be out there in the streets. Just like there's an ad for paying people to be at this military silliness thing today in DC. They pay people to protest, you guys. They pay people to sit in seats. So that's Saturn, Aries, Neptune. What you're seeing is not real. And this is perfect for this chart, right? Because the homeland, this is not real. His authoritism, trying to be a dictator, trying to be a king. This is all a fear illusion. So I really want you to get that. This Sun square Saturn is deep because it's letting you know that you need to focus on your family and your home and your emotional intelligence and grounding your body, connecting to Gaia, Mother Earth. You want to be on the 5D timeline. You don't want to be caught up in the 3D, in the matrix. That system is dying and dead. You got to ignore it. Remember Lot's wife in the Bible, right? Don't turn it into a pillar of stone and salt. Don't yearn for Sodom and Gomorrah. We got to detach. We've got to become more sovereign and free, but we've got to know that we are the president and leaders of our own lives. We cannot rely on any of these people, from Trump to Elon to Harris to Biden to Obama to Clinton, to none of them. They should all be in jail. Okay? And that may be hard to hear or say, but I'm telling you, if they're talking, they're lying. Okay? So Jupiter's Sun, come home. Feel safe in your wisdom, your knowledge and beliefs, right? This Jupiter is expanding this whole Cancer season. And at this time, and just so you know, it goes straight through to November 11th at 25 degrees, then Jupiter will retrograde. So it's going to move quickly. And I think early September, as you guys know, I told you in August, I'm going to do the very powerful charts for Coffee Talk. We're going to get into the Pisces lunar eclipse and the Virgo solar eclipse in the August Coffee Talk. Okay, so that's going to be really important. I could do it next month, but I want to do it like right before it happens, so it's fresh in your minds, so you know how to work with that energy, because that's the end of August and the early September. Okay, so you don't want to miss those Coffee Talks. But this is where we have got to truly know that, the divine feminine awakening at this time, it is for our benefit. Not in the unhealthy way, not in the Barbie, toxic masculinity, all men are bad. That's too much. That's an overcorrection that's orchestrated by, whoever it's orchestrated by. That's trying to create division between men and women, battle the sexes. No. The true divine feminine is not like, I don't need a man. It's like, I am powerful and strong as a woman, and I have self-love, and I will nurture and care for myself, my children, and my man. And the sacred masculine is, I will honor my woman, the goddess, and I will protect my home, my family, my queen, right? And so we've got to come together. If you watch anything on the news, the media, the magazines, the movies, social media, all they're trying to do, right, especially in the Black and Latino communities, is have gender wars and divide men and women. Don't play into that silliness. It's all BS and a lie. That's what they want to create, is chaos and fear. Okay? So any other questions or any other alignments? We'll get more into the chart. Sorry.
I do. You said you finna get into the chart?
No, before I get back more into the chart, any other alignments or questions you have about this energy? Go ahead.
I do, because I want to know how will it even affect me. I'm a
You
I'm a
Cancer
Cancer
rising?
rising.
Yes.
and it's in the first house, but my Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. My
Or your
Cancer
natal Jupiter?
is 0 degrees, and my natal Jupiter is exalted in Cancer at 26 degrees.
Oh, look at you. So you're having your Jupiter return. This is a great year for you, Erica. Oh
Oh
my God. This is
wow!
so I was the young kids say it's not always necessarily the bag, Jupiter and Cancer. It's more about
Hmm.
you becoming the divine feminine mother and nurturer that you are. Jupiter in Cancer wants to increase your wisdom, your learning, your teaching. Maybe you're like, oh, I got to get these boys out of school. I want to do homeschooling, things like that. But Jupiter on the ascendant, it is kind of a bag situation. Actually, the next 2 years are great for you. So this is to June 30th, 2026. And then you're going to have a great 26 and a 27 when it goes into Leo in your second house. It's the same thing for like the Gemini
Mm.
risings, quintella. Like this is a great time because with Jupiter in Cancer, it is going to literally help calm down the nervous system, but it's going to heighten your sensitivities and feelings. So when you have Jupiter in the ascendant, you're going to be more of the teacher. You're going to be more of, abundant. You're going to feel more abundant. People will be looking to you like, what does Erica say? Like, ask Erica, askerica.com. Like, this is like literally where you're going to find that you'll be placed into roles where you are asked to share your wisdom, beliefs, and philosophies. But you're going to want to, you know what I mean? And having Jupiter ascendant, how tall are you? Like 5'5" and above?
I'm 5'2".
5'2"? Really? What else do you have on the ascendant? You have
Um,
Jupiter.
I have. Let me look at it. I have Jupiter. I'm going back in. Let me see.
That's interesting.
Mm-mm. It would be moving slow.
That's okay. But I'm just
Yeah.
surprised
Okay. There.
because,
Okay.
go ahead, tell me what
I
else.
just have. That's it. I'm a Cancer rising,
And
and
Jupiter.
the only other thing that's in that house, in the first house, is my 0 degree. Rising, ascendant, and then the Jupiter is in Pisces at 26 degrees. It's exalted.
Jupiter and Cancer. You said Pisces.
In Cancer.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Okay, wow. I haven't, so you guys, the reason why I'm surprised is because usually, right, so the average height of a woman is probably increased. They say it's like 5'4.5". It's probably 5'5" by now. But and men is 5'9". Usually when you have Jupiter in the ascendant, it will make you taller than average. So you may have
Mm-hmm.
an aspect that maybe it's a square or opposition to your Jupiter that is like really hitting it and making you shorter. Because 5'2", I would think you'd be 5'4", 5'5", or higher. So that's interesting. That's interesting because Jupiter expands the height. Now remember, with Jupiter in Cancer, you got to watch out. Even with this return, you can retain more water. You can get more water weight, and it can expand
Mm-hmm.
the hips and thighs. Okay,
Yes.
so just be mindful of that. But with Jupiter on the ascendant, people who have Jupiter ascendant usually can have two or more kids. Are you done having children?
Yeah, I'm done. I don't
Okay.
want no more. My children are 23 and they are 19.
Oh, so girl, look at you. You did the thing already. That's great. Okay, so 23 and 19. Yeah, so you know, I guess the next thing for you, like I'm waiting for, and I'm jealous, not jealous, but I'm happy for Janice. You'll be headed towards the grandparent stage then later on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my oldest is 25, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not rushing it because I know he's not ready to be a dad. But I'm like, I do look forward to being a grandparent one day, though. But yeah, Jupiter on the ascendant is really you're going to feel extremely optimistic this year. But because Jupiter, what do you do for work?
Nothing. I mean, well, I do YouTube and stuff like that,
Okay.
as far as posting readings and been learning more astrology. I used to make cakes and I used to make them for, well, I kind of still do, depending on some people just won't not let me do it. But I
Okay.
had, I did
Well,
very well with that, especially
okay,
with all the
Jupiter,
celebrities.
that's okay. So this is something where you can bring that back up, right? Where you're literally cooking and baking out of your home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Jupiter on the ascendant in Cancer, that is going to only increase the sensitivities and sort of that divine knowledge. So sharing your wisdom, your truths, your beliefs over YouTube. So this is actually a good time. So this year and next year will be more money for you though. Jupiter and Leo, second house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's next year is the bag. So
Wow.
do all the work and throw yourself out there now because you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get seen and recognized. Jupiter expands things. But remember, you need to be nurturing and caring to others. People will look to you as the divine mother.
I always do.
Yeah.
It just seems like I have no way around it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Now, any questions about this chart? Remember, with the Mars in Virgo, it gives us Mars in Virgo, just so you guys know, it's heavy mental. That's the word I like to use for it. Remember, Mars is logistics. It's our willpower, our drive. For men, it's the sex drive. It's brothers and boyfriends, right? Ladies, the Mars is not the guy you always marry. You want to marry the Jupiter guy, right? Mars is who is like the eye candy. You're like, ooh, I like that. Okay, so just be mindful with the Mars. But Mars is also property. So Mars in Virgo, you're going to see, like Chantel, people are going to want to do more homesteading and build their own farms, right? People are going to want to get and explore more into nature, right? It's summer, so people are in their gardens anyway, right? People are growing things. So this chart supports this. So Chantel, your garden is doing really well right now, right?
Yes, yes.
And this summer it's only now, are there certain things that when you get to the solstice and Cancer season that you can plant that, like, I know we normally start at the end of winter, right, in early
Yeah,
spring,
because
but
our
can you
season
start
starts
things?
so early, it's really about sustaining it, you
Okay.
know? Um,
So there's nothing you start at this time.
no, not right now.
So you're just sustaining and things are coming to harvest a little bit.
Yeah. If anything, my sweet potatoes will be what I'm starting.
Oh, good. Okay. So, but you see, this Mars in Virgo is letting you like analyze and assess to explore the land,
Hmm.
right? Virgo is the earth, right? And being very precise and detailed, right? You got to do this with the water, and you put this, sweet potato. I'm so in awe of you, and I love when you share stuff, especially in the tribe. But like when I see you on IG, I'm like, oh my God, like you're so incredible because
Thank
you're
you.
you're growing some real stuff there, lady. I'm like, woof. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wanna, but that's the energy. You see this Taurus moon? That's what we have. This
Interesting.
is the moon is exalted in Taurus, more so between 10 and 23 degrees, but just in general, it does so well in Taurus. And so remember, the moon is our body, our health, our intuition. And so this is letting us know for Cancer season, we need to be grounded in our physical bodies, but speak our truth authentically. Uranus, Taurus, 29 degrees, say what you got to say. You know what I mean? Be emotionally safe and secure, Jupiter, Sun, and Cancer, to speak your truth, right? And so that's really important. And with Venus, hey, let's tap into our crystals. Venus and Taurus, it's all about our creativity at this time, especially in the fifth house, right? Creating things from our heart, starting our YouTube channel, starting our astrology business, starting our herb business, starting our crystals, just doing, more things at work with your whatever if you have a 9 to 5, but also exploring what do you want to bring to life from your heart and communicate from the throat chakra, right? Venus and Taurus, it's like with the moon there. Now, obviously, they're a little out of conjunction because the Venus is at 15, but it's still really speaking to that Venus, the lunar mansion behind it, is the moon. So this is very nurturing of the divine feminine, as we were already talking about with that Sun and Jupiter and Cancer. But to giving birth, right? Men, we don't birth babies, but we birth, right? I birthed this community. I birth, my first astrology book, right? This is the time to birth the creative endeavors. Taurus, Venus, very creative energy, and it can be very nostalgic, right? Taurus likes older things, right? They like old school hip hop, old school R&B, old school Motown, right? but it's giving birth to our senses too. So this is a high sensory season, and explore them. Tap in to and also, especially for all, even for me and Danny, but definitely for you ladies, do not drink the cold water. Room temperature hot water. You start off the morning with just plain hot water, and then your second cup should be like hot lemon water. The regular hot water is cleansing the large and small intestine, and that helps with the gut health, which is your second brain. The hot lemon water really is going to help more with the liver and also getting out some of the weight and inflammation. And then my third cup, right? And this is all, I don't eat any food. And then the third cup is tea. I get a nice sour sop or, whatever tea wifey's making, because, I'm not good with the herbs and the teas like that. She gets on me, you need to learn how to make your own tea. And I said, yeah, but I'm not good at that. Like, that's I like to stay in my lane. And she'll tease me and be like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, I can cook, but you cook so much better than me. Why am I going to get in the kitchen and act a fool and make a mess? Right? I got I've got like a wheelhouse of like 3 to 5 meals. Now I could play and, this and that if I have time. But like for me, I'm making an event, right? Like when Alana was like always out like working and selling her products all the time, and me and the boys and my mother was still alive and I'd be cooking. Daddy puts on the music. I got like Tribe Called Quest and Wu-Tang in the kitchen and, and I'm like dancing with the boys and they're laughing and I'm cooking. I make it like a whole experience because I like to have fun if I'm going to do something, right? For her, she's a Taurus rising. She's so intuitive at cooking. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm very spoiled. So, as she always says on the lives and tells you guys, but I give her all the props and the glory. But remember with this Neptune, one thing that you've got to really tap into, Aries rules the head. This fourth house is our emotional mind. This is our hometown and homeland. If we were looking at this as a Sag rising, that's America's chart, right? And so the one thing I will say was Saturn and Neptune and Aries, and this is the start of summer. This is also, what we're doing with our children, right? Next Friday, I'm doing the Supreme Court chart. Well, this just Thursday, Supreme Court just held up something for disabled children, that they don't have to go above and beyond to prove, the Disability Act. If a school is being unlawful, they don't have to. They just need to just say, hey, this is my rights, you're violating it. They don't have to have a certain measure of proof. And so that's a good thing, right, that was held up in the Supreme Court. So these are the types of things we'll be talking about on Friday night with the Supreme Court chart. It's actually kind of fascinating, really deep. And obviously like the start of Roe v. Wade, the end of Roe v. Wade. We'll look at all that in the chart and see the real intentions of the Supreme Court, because that's going to be really fascinating on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, okay? So the other thing, Ceres is an Aries in the fourth house. When you're seeing the Saturn and Neptune, this is about us initiating, right, and starting our own gardens, right? Growing our own food, doing those types of things. Ceres and Aries, right? We can all learn from Chantel, right? To do the homesteading and to start our things. So this chart supports that with the Taurus Moon, Taurus Venus, Sun and Jupiter in Cancer. This is going to be a really nice summer, but also a very beneficial energy to, and remember, just be careful if for anybody who is a Cap rising, anybody who's a Cap rising, if you have Saturn and Neptune and Aries, and you all will in the fourth house, you have to watch out for flooding in the home, your pipes, and roof, and issues with your roof. Okay, I speak from experience when Saturn was in Aquarius. All right, Alana will tell you guys at the tribe meeting tomorrow night, we literally the roof just whoop, and it was like something fell and leakage, and it was just crazy. So just be mindful for Cap risings, okay? So, but that's basically it for this summer solstice chart, you guys. Any questions before we go? Ground your physical body, tap into your crystals, open up your throat chakra. We're going to increase the what makes us feel emotionally safe and secure, and tap into that, right? And just, speak out the mantras, say the I feels, the I ams, the I knows, and I would say 12 times, because 12 is still 369 principle. And you could even journal on the solstice, right? 3 times in the morning, right? Just get to Nikola Tesla. 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night before you're going to bed, to manifest the things that you desire. So, but you guys, this was fun.
Bye, y'all.
And have a good one. All right.
See you.
All right,
Bye,
Danny. See you
Eric.
guys
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Bye. Happy Father's Day, Danny. Hopefully you come tomorrow. Bye, you guys.